Tonight, more protests and vigils in Minneapolis after a U.S. citizen was killed by federal agents for the second time in just 3 weeks. Graphic video obtained by Dropsite News shows at least 5 agents violently struggling with the man before multiple shots were fired, killing him. Witnesses stunned. That man identified as Alex Preddy, a local nurse. His father says
he thought it was terrible, kidnapping children, just grabbing people off the street. He cared about those people, and he knew it was wrong.
DHS says agents were conducting a targeted operation on an undocumented immigrant when Preddy approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm handgun. They released this image of a weapon. Police say the 37-year-old was licensed to carry a concealed weapon. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem called the shooting a tragic situation.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
But city officials questioned that account and whether Preddy brandished a weapon at all.
How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end?
Minnesota's governor calling the ICE crackdown an absolute abomination and is demanding a complete federal withdrawal from Minneapolis.
Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing.
They need to evaluate their rhetoric, their conversations, and their encouragement of such violence.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be provided are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele. You found the Heart of Dixie podcast. I'm an attorney in private practice in Daphne, Alabama. I'm joined today by Brandon Moseley, reporter and content manager at the Alabama Gazette. How are you today, Brandon?
Doing good, Harry. How are you?
I'm good. So we got a couple of guests today. We did an interview yesterday with Richard Cox, candidate for Baldwin County Commission District 1, and Whitney Scapecchi of the Southern Freedom Press is on the phone with us. How are you today, Whitney?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. So I just wanted, while we're doing our preamble, this is Mr. Cox. He's running against Jeb Ball for District 1, and these are your lineups for Republican candidates who are going to be speaking, I think, tomorrow night, Monday night. Yeah. And so there's Mr. Cox. He's a farmer, and I think he was in the timber business for a while, and his son was on our school board. Do you remember Mr. Cox being on the school board, Whitney? Were you here then?
I was not. No, I did not know that.
So anyway, his son was in a wheelchair his whole life, and that doesn't bode well for longevity. And he passed a few years ago, and he was a very good school board member, and was kind of a Tea Party guy, except he was in his 30s. So,
awesome.
Yeah. So the theme of today's podcast is a faux pas. Does everybody know a significant or embarrassing error or mistake? A blunder is a synonym. Does everybody? So Whitney, you want to tell us about the faux pas?
Yeah, we had a pretty interesting situation take place on social media.
So was it still up?
It was. Yeah. Well, so, I mean, it's up on my page. I have the screenshots of the blunder. But we had Representative Donna Givens went on to Jeremiah Giles's Facebook page. He's running for one of our judge positions here in Baldwin County. And it appears that she intended to take a screenshot of a Facebook post that he had made. It was one where he was talking about an event that many of us went to last night in Summerdale. Very large, interesting political engagement among many people in Baldwin County. But it looks like she tried to take a screenshot where he just simply shared, there's an event tomorrow night. Everybody come on out. He said that I'll be there. He did not mention that he would be speaking, but I'll just read the now deleted Facebook comment, which I do have the original copy on my page. But
We're looking at
Donna
it.
goes on to, Donna goes on to say, Scott Boone wanted me to send this to you. Jeremiah called Bill Patterson and asked him if he could come. Bill said he felt a little uncomfortable. He didn't know what to say to him. He said, I guess you could come. And he asked then if he and Henderson could come, talking about Jeremiah and Henderson. So Bill told him, yeah, I guess you can. And then he gets on Facebook and posts this. So she's referring to, obviously, Jeremiah in her eyes, hops on Facebook and shares this. But she goes on to say, Scott said, please make sure that Christy Haygood knows that she's invited. I said, oh, I've already invited her. And he said, tell her she will get to speak, but that Jeremiah will not get to speak, but you will get to speak for 3 to 4 minutes. It just helps to have friends in the right places. A couple people have asked me, like, who do you think this is intended for? This is obviously a private, intended to be a private message to someone. And her context is a little all over the place. So people were like, well, who is this to exactly? Is this to Scott Boone? Is this to just somebody else? Maybe not mentioned in this, but I do believe, because of the second to last statement she made, where she goes, but you get to speak for 3 to 4 minutes. I believe that this message was intended for Christy Haygood.
And Christy
what
Haygood
transpired-
is running against Jeremiah Giles for a circuit judge position right now.
Yes. And we have recently found out from some political insiders. So when, you might cover this later, Harry, but, there's been some change up in the different judges races. And we've got now Scott Boone and John Gray running Christie's campaign. And, if you follow the finances on, campaign records, it's a little hard to pin John Gray to Christie, but we do know that Adrian Gray, John's wife, is very dear friends of Christy Haygood's. Did a little bit of sleuthing and found lots of pictures that connect them. I'm also told that, they've been on family vacations together. So obviously a close relationship. And it was reported to me that John Gray is sort of managing her campaign, but through someone else. And that gentleman's name would be Chris Brown. His consulting firm is an LLC registered out of Birmingham. He lives in Vestavia Hills. He is actually connected to Ginger Harrelson, I discovered. There was a couple others, not very many Baldwin County candidates, but it is rumored that John Gray, that is kind of how he's staying out of, I guess you can't pin him to a certain candidate, is he is, I guess, consulting through Chris Brown's consulting agency, and I want to say it's called Red State Strategies. So everybody can go check that out. And he does show up on her campaign finance record. So all a bunch of interesting stuff. And Harry, you might talk about this, but I think it's interesting to see Scott Boone and John Gray team up.
Interesting bedfellows for certain.
Yes.
So we're looking at
but
Christy
yeah.
Haygood had a kickoff January 26th at the balcony in Fairhope. Did you go to that? Or no, that's tomorrow night. That's in the future. No, that's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I will be at the other event that you referenced earlier on the call. So
I bet you will. All right.
Yes.
Well, so let's get through some more of our lineup here. So we have the faux pas, and I thought I would point this out. So January 24th, the AL.com reposted the article from a few weeks ago where they cited my conviction on, of the felonious attack on Mr. Franklin, they reposted it. Isn't that interesting? And of course,
I wish I could see the headline. I'm on by phone right now, but I wish I could see what they updated.
so I just said, please check your facts. I can't believe you reposted this. Guess you guys have deep pockets. Here's my dog. He was also assaulted by the Bay Minette city councilman, and he was also illegally arrested by the Bay Minette PD. There's an audio recording of the entire incident. And of course, yeah. Hilarious. Okay. So Summerdale Sunshine. Did you read Mr. Ripp's Ripp Report?
I did. I actually read it on my way to the Summerdale Sunshine event. It was pretty spot on.
Wasn't it? Yeah. So everybody should go read the Ripp Report. So this is the event that we're talking about that happened last night, Saturday, January 24th, in Summerdale. Votes and checkbooks. And why don't you just give us a little bit of background? There was a businessman, and what was his name? And he was hosting this thing for Mike Vann, who used to own the Chevrolet dealership in Bay Minette, who was running against Chris Elliott, which automatically puts him at a 70-point advantage.
Yeah, it's interesting, Harry, because, I had been told early on about this event that this was actually intended for Mike Vann. So there's this, I never saw him last night, the host of the party, right? So his name is Brian Patterson, I want to say.
He was there. I saw him.
This
I
is
spoke
his,
to him.
okay. I have no idea what he looks like, but so it was brought to me, kind of early on, whenever this event, I started hearing the buzz about it, that it was intended to be for Mike Vann, maybe one other candidate, smaller, obviously, everybody inviting their friends out and trying to raise some funds for these guys, but it quickly evolved. Donna's post gives us a little bit of insight, I think, into how that happened. It looked like, I don't know what Scott Boone's relationship is with Mr. Patterson, but from what I can gather from Donna's private message is, I think that there's some candidates on the Boone team that wanted to be able to speak, join in on the event. And it seems like, I have the list of all of Scott Boone's candidates, and I think I saw just about every single one of them there last night. So I had joked around on Facebook and said, it kind of feels like the Scott Boone takeover event. He was present as well last night. So, but yeah, the weirdest thing is I won't name names on this one, but 3 different people came up to me last night to talk to me. All 3 of them were Boone candidates. And there was a lot of claim to fame last night. Everyone taking, saying that this event was intentionally for them. So, you've got the Mike Vann story, who's not a Scott Boone candidate. But I had 3 different people come up to me last night and they're like, yeah, you having a good time? And this was originally supposed to be, an event for me. And then everybody else, kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And I'm just like, every single one of them taking credit for it or, saying that it was their event, I'm just curious whose event it was.
So we're looking at a picture that I took. It's right over here behind my office, the corner of Van Buren and North Main Street. And you can tell all the Catalyst or Scott Boone candidates because their signs are on PVC pipe. And we have Matt Simpson, Anthony Lowry, Jerry Carl, Tater Harris, and Liam Scully all in a row. Like one guy got out and put all these signs out at one time. That's what it looks like. Anyway,
it was like a parade driving up to the property last night. Those signs were insane.
Yeah, I didn't figure I needed to take a bunch of pictures or anything like that, but yeah, I noticed. So Ripp also has a article up, Foot in His Mouth, about Elliott's recent, pick a week. Elliott says something idiotic every week. So, okay, Brandon, a story you were unaware of all people, guess who's reporting this? Our good old friend Debbie Williams from WKRG, who, of course, is the mouthpiece for the sheriff's department. So Friday night, close to midnight, 2 Summerdale police officers entered the Summerdale Fire Station on County Road 32 to find out who was there and to get a copy of the duty roster. You know why?
I have seen that story.
Oh, you have seen it. So
Yes.
you're aware.
Yes, I'm very aware that the Summerdale Police Department is investigating the volunteer fire department and said they had evidence that people were living in the fire station.
And the reason they went at midnight was to see if there was any, it was supposed these guys were full-time firemen. They were like living there or staying there most of the time, and they'd have female companionship, and the female companionship was the problem. Yeah.
I have confirmed that with 4 sources. I'm actually going to go speak to Mayor Randy Ferris. I'm going to try and go talk to him this week because I do believe that they were targeting him. There's some other things that he said that he was excited to let me know that have happened since he got in his seat. But yeah, definitely seems like a little bit of a setup to me.
I mean, nobody wants the fire guys to have ladies at their fire deal for illicit purposes, but it is a volunteer fire department.
Well,
it doesn't take too much pressure, so you don't have volunteer firefighters, and that's a problem.
They had a full-time fire force, and the former mayor, before he went out of office, did away with that and made them volunteer. So there was a bit of a transition, and I guess that's where they discerned that some of these people might be staying there, when it wasn't their shift or whatever. I don't know. But the idea that you would send that this is how you handle this, I don't know. Sorry, Whitney. But this mayor's going to have to pull a rabbit out of his hat for me to buy anything that he says. Okay. So very importantly, the Baldwin County Commission at their meeting on Monday, so they had a corridor management plan for the connection of the Baldwin Beach Express from I-10 to I-65. And the problem with this stretch here is all the damn water they got across. It's going to be 14, 15 bridges required and major culverts. Anyway, there were supposed to be only 2 access points along this whole corridor, and they caved to the developers. I don't want anybody to say this is something that they had to do or anything else. This was to accommodate developers who were bitching prior to the selection cycle. Okay. Anyway, Whitney, do you know anything else about this Beach Express? Now, as far as I know, we've required no right-of-way. We don't have any engineering drawings or anything like that at this point. But it's important to placate the developers.
Yeah. I mean, you really touched on everything that I know. I guess it'll be interesting to see what else comes about this, but that's pretty much where I'm at with it. Okay,
so coming down Old Pensacola Road, which is that it? I think that's it right there. Yeah, 112. This area down here is nothing but, what we talk about, Brandon, 70% Alabama's pine forest. And so Stacy Riles and his group bought several thousand acres from, I guess it was IP land. And so
I believe it was international paper. Yeah.
And so anyway, you've got, and there were plans at one point in time to put a regional airport on this property and to shut down Mobile and Pensacola. And this was going to be the regional airport. That was back in the 70s or whatever. But anyway, people have kicked around doing something out there for a long time. And you talking about being sparse and rural. And of course, because nobody lives there, they've never activated the planning district. So the only thing controlling anything is going to be subdivision regulations, which we all know how that goes. Did y'all know Chief Brad Kendrick has retired?
Where's he out of? I mean, it rings a bell, yes.
Robertsdale.
Yeah.
Yeah. He and you see Wilters, and I guess for some reason Hoss is here. He's not a sheriff, but okay. But he does live in Robertsdale. So the Eastern Shore Republican Women's Candidate Forum Series, let's see. This is Monday. This is tomorrow night as well. Moe's Barbecue. You've been down to the new park at the end of the road, Bayfront Park. That's where you drive. That's on the road. Well, Moe's Barbecue is on the road, same road. And that is quite an accomplishment. So that should be a good time. You know, you can get some, I think they sell alcohol there. And so if you're going to have to listen to all that, you might as well sit around and get drunk. Play some cornhole, throw some.
And it looks like they're serving food tomorrow night as well. There's a member and non-member price, but
$30.
it looks like they have, looks like they have everybody lined up from the commissioners running in that race, and then Matt McKenzie.
Ought to be interesting. So, Brandon, tell us what's going on in the legislature, man.
The legislature's off to kind of a quick start. They've advanced both budgets. They're in position where they could bring them up whenever they want to. We fixed that mistake in Coleman County where they long lassoed a piece of Smith Lake for some, corrupt developer. And nobody in Coleman County wanted any of that done. And so since it's an election year, we did finally pass the bill to fix the nonsense that we passed in the last session there. That was cool. We advanced, the ban on human cloning. That passed the House last year, but got tied up in the log jam in the Senate this past year. And the Senate focused on all those local bills that they couldn't move last year because of the goofy log jam at the end of the session. So,
all right. Well, I want to quiz you on two of your stories. Mo Brooks qualifies for Alabama House of Representatives. Wasn't he formerly in the House a long time ago?
Yes, back in '82, he was first. Was a young Mo, was first elected to the Alabama House. And now he's challenging James Lomax, who's probably 40 years younger than Mo. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting. Mo told us he was not going to run for anything. But apparently he told some of his backers, I'll run if y'all can come up with 100,000. And they surprised him last week with 100K. So he thought he was obligated to run. So that's going to be a war because Bo is old school Republican going way back. And the new school Republicans would rather not have a bomb thrower like Mo there. So I kind of think the speaker and the powers that be, everybody that doesn't like Mo, is going to find a way to get money to Lomax.
Double major in political science and economics from Duke. That should tell you all you need to know about Mo Brooks. So Joan Reynolds has assumed the role of Alabama GOP chairperson because our current chairperson, Buffalo
at the very
Bill,
last minute in qualifying, Chairman John Wall filled out the papers to run for lieutenant governor of all things. And so that meant he vacated the chairman's role, which meant Joan, who's the vice chair, is automatically elevated.
Well, that's an interesting story. So the butterfly man is now running for lieutenant governor at the behest of Donald Trump. Wasn't that the story that we got?
Yeah,
he claims he has an endorsement from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 8 people running for lieutenant governor as Republicans and 2 Democrats. But, Trump has intervened and endorsed Wall.
Okay, so we can't clone a human being but that doesn't apply to in vitro fertilization, says Representative Matt Simpson.
In the livestock industry, it's almost commonplace now to clone your best cow or your best pig or your sheep, or they even do horse cloning now. And I'm thinking you can clone dogs. There's a lab in South Korea that will, if you send a DNA sample to them, they'll send you a new Mr. Roo, in 10 years when he is done. But now we're going to make it criminal to clone a human. Now it's already banned nationally, but we're going to, if anybody tries to clone a human, you can go live in the Alabama prison, and I'd just as soon not do that.
So the Alabama Senate Judiciary Committee convened Wednesday morning, January 21st, to review and advance a slate of bills addressing criminal justice, civil rights, juvenile proceedings, and guardianship reforms. The meeting was held at 8:30 in the State House, a significant step in shaping the legal landscape of Alabama families, victims, and vulnerable populations. So, enhances penalty for first-degree rape, first-degree sodomy, and sexual torture. It's like another one of these "Be Nice to Retarded Kids" Act. We're all for that. Restoration.
We don't use that terminology anymore, though.
Voting rights for formerly incarcerated individuals. That will go nowhere. Require pardons and parole to post applications for voting rights restoration and notify individuals for Secretary of State's when rights are reinstated. Guardianship and conservatorship reform. That should be interesting to everybody. A comprehensive overhaul of Alabama's guardianship and conservatorship statutes. The bill strengthens notice requirements, revises procedures for transferring cases to circuit court, and mandates training for guardian ad litem representing minors. Well, I can tell you, I was a guardian ad litem certified for a decade, and they get training out the yin yang. Expanding the crime of reckless endangerment. And improving juvenile justice communications requires courts to notify local school officials when a student is charged or adjudicated delinquent for certain criminal offenses. Woo.
Goodness.
Yeah, currently, we're worried about the privacy of the individual. We release him from juvie, so we're not supposed to talk about it. Now we're going to require that they tell the principal, yes, this guy is a car thief, drug dealer, whatever got him in juvie.
The 14-year-old.
He's now coming to your school.
We used to call that a joyride. Now he's a car thief. So you can tell Tim Melson's running because he has a Be Nice to Retarded People Act. Senate Bill 94, which raises fines for unauthorized use of designated disabled parking spaces.
Well, it has nothing to do with the retarded or intellectually disabled. It's for people who have a handicap sticker. We found that there's a lot of people that take like their aunt's handicap sticker and then they use it themselves and do it at Walmart.
That makes you an asshole. That's what that makes you. I don't know if that makes you a criminal.
And so Melson has a bill that they're working on. It's it's a work in progress. Now Lance Bell in that committee meeting said, hey, let's make it interesting. Let's raise it up where, hey, because Nelson's raising like a $500 fine and, increase, potential jail time. Lance suggested they take the car. That would give the police an incentive to enforce this. Really, there's no incentive now. But now if we seize the vehicle, that will get people's attention.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what's going to be in the version of the bill that is introduced by Melson on the Senate floor. It's open to everything. But we advanced it.
Wow. All right. So, anything else that we need to know about what's going on in Mucky Town? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we need to know, but anything you can tell us?
We had an interesting debate. There's a legislation that Ernie Yarbrough is bringing in the House. It does a number of things, but the provision in there that upset, the people on the left and our immigrant community is one that basically allows any law enforcement officer to enforce immigration law. where, hey, we stopped you at a traffic stop. We found out you're actually illegal. And now we're going to pick you up and return you over to ICE.
Well, it's better than being a rogue professor at Auburn. I get, according to John Sophocles, who did a opinion piece for you January 12th. It's pretty good. Everybody should check that out.
That bill, they had a public hearing on it in House Judiciary on Wednesday, and Chairman Hill, who chairs the House Judiciary Committee, said that they're going to vote on that this coming week.
So, Whitney, you were at the soiree last night.
Yes, I guess I was.
Would you say that everybody was on their best behavior?
Oh, very much so. Everyone was, very pleasant. Police presence was heavy, which, election time during these type of events is always appreciated. But everyone was good. I mean, I definitely know that when certain people walked into the event, it seems like some other people walked out. So I guess if they felt like they couldn't be on their best behavior, they got out of Dodge. But other than that, I think it was a very friendly atmosphere.
I thought so. And so since I left the house and came here, the temperature has dropped 25 degrees. It's gone from 75 to 45. This is crazy, man. And I guess the rest of the country is blanketed in snow, and we're supposed to go down to the 20s in the morning. It's really crazy weather. This front rolling through. Anyway, I'm set to have an arraignment on Wednesday. So anybody interested in all that, 10:30, second floor, Judge Stankowski's courtroom on Wednesday. So
I will be there.
Hey, you never know. So Brandon, what's going on this week in Montgomery? It's the third week of the regular session.
Yeah, we're clicking along. We've already burned 6 legislative days, so 7 comes up on Tuesday. They're working off regular order, so I really have no idea what they're going to do. They just start yanking stuff off the regular order calendar. We're kind of, I've been told we're not going to do a lot because we want to get done early and get out and campaign. Of course, qualifying just ended on Friday. One legislator I talked to Friday was trying to get on the podcast, but he said that at the moment he has no opponent, and if we finished 5 o'clock without an opponent, he was going to have a party and get so drunk it'll be 3 days before he can do anything. So,
well, that's one way to do it.
One thing that was interesting with qualifying, we had a lot of political returns. I mean, obviously Mo Brooks is running for state legislature. That's a blast from the past we thought was done. Gerald Dow, who's been out of the state Senate for 8 years, qualified to run against Randy Price over in East Alabama. That's, again, we're resurrecting his political career. On the Democrat side, Doug Jones is qualified for governor. I mean, Tommy Tuberville beat the crap out of him 6 years ago, and apparently he's coming back for seconds.
Thirds.
And Ron Sparks, who lost the governor's race in 2010, is attempting a political comeback as Commissioner of Agriculture and Industries, running on the Democrat side. And of course, we have Jabbo Wagner, who, I was the oldest person in the legislature. He was actually in the House before my parents met in the 60s. He qualified for another term, though he did draw a primary opponent. And so that'll be interesting.
Well, it's interesting times. So anyway, just to recap some things, apparently we're not going to invade Greenland. January 23rd was the last day the United States was in the WHO. As far as,
Qualifying is over for both political parties.
right. And apparently 57 Republicans voted to keep the kill switch mandate that Biden placed on cars. Have you read those names? Anyway, and of course, Tommy Tuberville has been endorsed by President Donald Trump, which
That was big news that he has the Trump endorsement, though. His two Republican opponents, I don't think they don't have 10 supporters or $10 from supporters at this point. So, I mean, who else was Trump going to endorse but Tuberville?
And then, of course, we see the big news this week that President Trump drops another blockbuster endorsement urging ALGOP Chair John Wall to run for lieutenant governor. And, of course, that has come to pass.
Well, the really big endorsement Trump made last week was he endorsed Barry Moore for U.S. Senate instead of Steve Marshall. I mean, Barry Moore was barely over 10% in the polls. Now, arguably, he's either the favorite or just short of being tied with Marshall, because he will beat Marshall over the head with, I have the Trump endorsement, which carries a lot of weight in the GOP primary.
Well, not that they have any rights or we should consider their feelings or social circles, but there's a bill afoot that would, it moves to the Senate, pass the House 103-0. Children could load some social media apps under new Alabama law. And of course, Alabama is going to be the first one hurtling us towards a,
we've got
digital
legislation coming on Tuesday. I had a press conference with Representative Ben Harrison on Wednesday, and he's going to introduce, we made it illegal for you to take, Brandon's image and put him on, make an AI porn movie with Brandon's image or anybody's, we can't just take, the cheerleader girls or the boys on the baseball team and put them in porn videos that we made with AI. Harrison's bill will allow you to come after the attorney general to come after the AI company for civil penalties.
Well, I'm sure
that is legislation. We're the first state in the country to consider that, where the AI company is guilty if, the weirdo uses it for illicit purposes, if they have done things to encourage or coach the miscreant who is misusing their product.
Interesting.
Grok AI, I'm being told, is like the target of this.
Well, all I can say is I have alerts set up on YouTube and Google. And so there'll be like some kind of, I don't know, whatever the subject matter is, and it pops up and I go watch it, and it's some bullshit that was made by AI. And it's nothing I'm interested in watching, right? So I can't imagine pornography would be any different created by AI. I don't know. I just can't imagine this is a major problem. But no one would use my likeness for a porno. Okay.
But somebody could hurt your reputation. Let's say they made a AI porno of you and Huey Mack, involved in something. Both of y'all's reputation would suffer, and I think we would come after that person criminally and civilly.
Fair enough. Well, I guess we'll put a pin in on that. Whitney, have a good week, and thank you for your time and your insights.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And Brandon, you have a good week. Stay out of trouble in Montgomery, and I'll try to do the same.
Try not to get arrested
Good
again.
luck on Wednesday.
Thank you,
Good luck
guys.
on Wednesday. Behave. Bye.
I'll see what I can
Good
do.
luck.
All right, let's see if we can get this thing going. So, today we're joined by Richard Cox, who is running for Baldwin County Commission District 1, challenging two-term incumbent James Jeb Ball. Mr. Cox, what led you to decide you wanted to run for the county commission?
Harry, I've lived in District 1 in Stockton my entire life. I've made an independent living in agriculture and timber business in this county, and I just want to give back to the county. It's been good to me. I want to get back to it. And basically, the main reason is I don't feel that the rural parts of the county, which is just about half of it, geographical size, has been very well represented by the commission.
Well, if you look at it by water districts, the Stockton, Blackshire, that all got, I guess, consumed by NBU, and then you got East Central Baldwin Water and Fire Protection Authority, all that stuff from, Seminole all the way up to Dice on the east side, running along, through Phillipsville and all that area is very rural. Man, I can just tell you, around Alberta, you can't even bird hunt around there. There's too many there's too many people. They'll call the law on you. A lot of stuff has changed. We used to bird hunt right there where Lowe's is at County Road 20 when I was a kid, with Lou Childry and all them down in Foley. And those days are gone, man.
Well, they have, and but there's still a great part of this county, the area you just talked about, up 112 on the eastern half of Baldwin County from Alberta north, around Padilla, right east Stockton, Tensall, Blackshire, Latham. That's all real rural. We still have I tell people all the time that our busiest traffic day time is the opening days of deer season through Stockton, because that's when we have people up here. So I'd like to protect some of that timber lands. The timber industry used to be one of the largest industries in the county, and we still have to protect those natural resources.
Forgive me for not being familiar with this, but does Baldwin County elect its commissioners by district vote or by a county-wide vote?
By a county-wide vote.
Okay, that's like St. Clair County.
You run by district, but you
run by district, but everybody in the county votes.
Correct.
Yep.
And
you have to live in the district that you're representing, but the whole county votes. So basically, I'm running for District 1, which is 25% of the commission. So, but the rural areas consist of a lot more than that. I don't know what, I've spent a lot of time in the lower end talking to people to hear their concerns. I'll have to represent them just like I do the ones in District 1. I've like I said, I've lived in this county all my life. I served in an Army Reserve unit in Foley. I know people from one end to the other. I've been involved with agriculture all my life. I know a lot of the farmers. I know the people of the rural parts of the county. Those are the people that I want to represent.
Well, what would you say to all of those urbanized people that live within 10 miles of the coast, whether it be, in, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, or up along the Mobile Bay, you know, in Daphne and Fairhope and Spanish Fort, because that's getting to be the bulk of the population, even if it's not a land area.
That's true, Harry, but still, the people that live in the rural section of the county, they pay taxes here 365 days out of the year. They need to be represented. I'm on there asking for 25% representation from them. So, you know, the people on the eastern shore, the shores area, you know.
Yeah. Hey, Richard, I didn't ask that question. Brandon did, because I know that those people get looked after just fine. That's
Yeah, but I mean, you know, he represents them like he represents the rural people in Stockton. You know, they're voting for their commissioner, which would, you know, include, you know, even the rural area. You know, the little urban guys are the majority. By my understanding of the population of Baldwin, it's, you know, what the communities I just listed: Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Foley, Daphne, Fairhope, Spanish Fort. That's probably where 3/4
okay.
of
Well,
the population now in Baldwin live, you know, in those areas or just outside those city limits.
okay. So Daphne and
There's no question about that. But, you know, you have to be fair to everybody.
so Daphne and
They-
Fairhope are going to continue to develop along those ancillary corridors like 13 and 181, places like that. But, you know, they have a definitive border in that they're wet. They're on the eastern shore of Mobile Bay. You can't continue to grow that way, even though I heard Fairhope was talking about building shit on stilts now. But anyway, the majority of what you're going to see is Loxley is going, if you're talking about what's going to go boom, Loxley's going to go from 3,000 people to 35,000. And then all that property, the Baldwin County Commission just announced a corridor management plan change, because they're going to start on the, whatever they calling it, the Baldwin Beach Express connection between Buc-ee's at I-10 and I-65, somewhere around Perdita, Phillipsville, as far as best I can tell.
Do they have the right of way for that?
No, they have a corridor plan, and they're gonna, you know, hold everybody to ransom. That the people, I know people that are managing the property for the owners, and they burned a bunch of stuff, and they were like, "Hey, how come we're not burning that? Oh, that's going to be right of way. You know, we're not replanting that. That's going to be right of way for, yeah." So everybody knows where it's going, even if nobody's saying. And you got to remember, like Stacy Riles and his development group bought, I don't know, 4,000 acres of what used to be IP timberland out there going down Old Pensacola Road. So all bets are off for what we think about typical development. And so long as we have private sewer that runs wild, you know, that's been the only check historically up until 2007, when the county commission decided they were going to let Clarence Burke run the county.
Well, Harry, you got to look at the planning, zoning, and the subdivision regulations. The 1973 law gives Baldwin County the right to oversee subdivisions of property under 30 acres. All right. The county commission has the power to say that to regulate the size of those lots. They could be 1 acre, 2 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, or they could split that 30 acres into 2 parcels, period.
Wouldn't it be better for the environment if they limited, you know, if they favored smaller lots rather than bigger lots, rather you can squeeze more people in less land and knocking down thousands of acres for just a few $100?
Well, You've got those areas have to be zoned under planning and zoning before they can cut.
Understood.
Planning and zoning and subdivision are two different animals. Planning and zoning has no jurisdiction until a district votes for zoning. All that area you talking about, if you look at the planning and zoning maps, those 2 or 3 districts that's in there, you don't have 100 people that live that vote for going into zoning in those districts currently.
Right. So we have
zoning people have no authority over how the size of those lots. Another problem you have through that area, you have a lot of wetlands through there. I, as a farmer, the Environmental Protection Agency won't allow me to clean up wetlands, put a cow pasture on. Somewhere it's falling apart on why these lands are being mitigated and wetlands and interfering with the drainage systems in the county. You know,
generally the Corps will allow you to, hey, there's a swamp I want to drain and turn into houses. If I'll take it by an equal number of like pasture land, and then I flood it and turn it into a wetland, that's one way to mitigate it.
That's the way the law reads, but how many of those are being really mitigated? You know, you also have environmental, you have endangered species. I know I've worked on the wildlife, has a big piece of property on Mobile Water Board on Big Creek Lake for a golf tourist hotel, what we called it. They mitigate if you have a gopher tourist on any of that property, it costs you as much as $10,000 to move that gopher to that reservation. That's not being mitigated in some of these developments.
Is Governor Wallace still the sole source for that service? I mean, $10,000 seems kind of steep per turtle, man. Unless Governor Wallace's family's got the contract.
Is under the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is correct, but you find one I'm gonna get a property and you can't even put a log landing over where one of them is.
Well,
you got all kind of endangered species that developers aren't. Somehow they're getting around it. I don't know how. I know if I served on the Farm Service Agency's county committee, and we had a man that had cut some timber after one of the hurricanes and cleaned it up and filled some wetlands or drained some wetlands to put a cow pasture on it. And now he's not eligible for USDA cost shares or anything because he violated that wetland, that wetland area. There's a lot of stuff that's not being, not being checked up on, I guess is the way to put it. But
okay, so I have I got a funny one for you. So if you wanted to go talk to the Corps of Engineers about your wetland and you didn't have a star ID, how the hell are you going to get in that building to talk to those guys? Because I doubt they're going to come down to the parking lot to meet with you. And which brings up.
Best way I know to talk to the Corps of Engineers is dam up a creek.
And they'll show up in a ask or do what Hamilton did out there. They'll show up, divert a creek or something.
I had a neighbor here at Moody, and he got fined like $25,000 one time and like $30,000 another time for, he had a front end loader and he did some work. That crawler loader, with his cows trying to clear some trees down in a wetland, and he got all kinds of trouble. Now his estate sold that property and they garden homed it out, and I don't know how that happened, but
Well, look, y'all are missing my point, and my point is these buildings that are supposed to be there for the public have now been militarized, and our presiding judge, when I went to talk to him about man, Joe Cooley used to come up in the damn courthouse and watch trials. I used to come up in the courthouse and watch trials. Nobody does that anymore because we got to get strip searched at the damn door, even the lawyers. And if you got a badge on, you can walk through the damn walls. It's insane. So anyway, I'd just like to get my public buildings back where 90% of the building isn't restricted access, like planning and zoning and some of this other stuff that makes no sense. I mean, if we got a bunch of cash back there, guys, or whatever's going on.
Courthouses shot up in this country. They're not going to allow the guns back in there.
Okay, I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about, look, we created, I'm a lawyer, okay? We created an entire industry and a profession to record everything that happens in the courtroom. It's called a stenographer, okay? So why is it a problem if the public's recording in a courtroom, unless it's a juvenile matter? I don't understand it.
Honestly, all this thing that we can't bring our laptops in or our phones. I mean, to me, there should be cameras in every courtroom, and everything should be recorded.
Yeah, well, there are.
Honestly,
the problem is
you can record that deal. And AI can come up with a more accurate transcript than any human stenographer.
Okay, well, besides all that, I'm saying their logic for not letting people bring their phones in is they may take a photograph or record a juvenile. If somebody does that, let them cool their damn heels in the jail for contempt for 10 days or something like that. But penalizing everybody, I got to take my damn shoes off when I get on an airplane because some idiot tried to blow his shoes up. You see what I'm saying? It's the dumbest thing ever. It's like the TSA. It's like putting a cop in every school and all these other things that we've done. And so long as you do things in the name of
decisions at the federal level, they should have impact to Baldwin County. I don't think the county commission can change the courthouse rules.
Oh yeah, they can. There's a courthouse. There's a courthouse security committee, and they never met until I invoked their jurisdiction. And of course, they met after that. But yeah, the Code of Alabama sets out who all's on that committee, and it's the presiding judge, the presiding district judge, and appointee of the county commission, the probate judge. So yeah, and the circuit clerk, I think, is rounds out the quintet or whatever it is. So anyway, Richard, it's an issue for me, as a taxpayer and somebody who's lived here my whole life. And my mother used to work in the courthouse, and Gertrude, you couldn't go to the bathroom by yourself because Gertrude would be in there taking a bath in the sink. So we've gone from that to militarization with facial recognition stuff and everything else. And of course, everything is being recorded, Brandon. It's being listened to by law enforcement, which used to be a no-no. And of course, now we're so proud that we're snooping on everybody. Anyway, if you would take that into consideration and talk to folks about it, I think you'll find that's a hot button issue that people don't like being patted down when they go in the damn courthouse to pay their taxes.
But that's why they let you pay online now.
Okay.
So you don't have to go in there.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Cox. Anything else that you'd like to impart to us about your campaign? Or are you going to have a kickoff event where you're going to meet and greet folks?
I don't know, Eric, just exactly how we're going to work this. I'm real early in the campaign. I'm like the rest of them. I'm kind of a pay-as-you-go type guy. So I plan on having a couple meet and greets and little fundraisers, of course. I have to.
Yes, sir.
I haven't set any times. I I don't plan on doing any real big ones.
Okay. Well, if you do, give us a heads up.
What are your priorities, for, being in office?
Keeping the.
What do you want to do?
I want to do exactly what you want to do, Harry. I want to keep the rural parts of this county open. I want to protect our environment. The good Lord, when He created this earth, He put a natural drainage and filtration system in it. And all of the more development, more roads you build, the more you interfere with that, causing more flooding problems. I think those things need to be addressed and looked at, whether we can change them. I'm not against progress whatsoever. I mean, we've got the county's growing. But we got to control it. We've got to try to put some limits on things and try to be reasonable with it. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. And Brandon, I will see you tomorrow for the actual podcast, man. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak to y'all.
So we're gonna protect Scotty, make sure that he stays in there.
There ain't no doubt about it. Tammy, yeah. Who you want running? Who you want to be sitting there?
I don't know, but it's not gonna be a bunch of the Lollipop Guild dick suckers.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Out of this office, man.
Okay.
Get out of this office.
I'll be glad to. Thanks, Matt.
Hey, let me tell you something. You big fat fucking pussy. Get the fuck out of my office. Out, hey, right
Come
now.
on.
Get the fuck out of here. And don't you ever
Hey,
come
watch
back
this.
Get the fuck up. Look straight. God, what? Motherfucker.
Are you done?
Motherfucker.
Are you done?
Motherfucker.
Are you done?
Get the fuck off.
I don't know why you touched me.
I didn't touch you,
shouldn't have.
motherfucker.
You shouldn't
You
have.
lying bastard.
Are you done?
Harry.
Are you done?
Harry.
Are you done? Say uncle.
Get the
Say
fuck
uncle,
off
Matt.
me.
You better let go of my...
I'll fucking kill us, motherfucker.
Matt! Get off my dog!
Get the fuck off me. Get the
Hey, that's fucking enough. That's enough.
I'm gonna kill that fucking dog, Harry. And I'm gonna kill you.